things get pumping. Cheers.
Hell.
Hello everybody, thank you for joining us for another artist series with Trust Vibes. I'm here today with my very good friend, Claire Jedrek. Claire Jedrek is a race car driver, she's a TV presenter, she's an entrepreneur, she's probably some other things that are not, she's a mother and a wife. He's a good guy though.
He is, he's a good guy.
Everybody give it up for Claire. Josh, can we get some clapping there please? I would like to first start with a quick lightning round.
Okay, just do it.
I feel like we're already warm,
Okay.
but I want to warm up more. First question. Fastest you've ever gone in a car?
Like 300.
300 kilometers.
300 kilometers. Yeah, not miles. Not on a plane.
Scariest thing you've ever done?
Scariest thing I've ever done? Oh, quick fire. What can I... scariest thing I've ever done. Scariest thing I've ever done. Got married.
Got married? I was there that day.
Yeah,
you looked frightened. Worst job you've ever had?
Worst job? Oh, is for Singapore TV football.
Why?
I think I got fired the next day. And I was in tears going home. I just started hosting, and basically, I had nailed it the first time. I'd done it. Second time, they're like, great, come back. Memorized the whole thing, and then I blanked, and I couldn't remember one of the words. And they were like, just cut it short. And then I was freaking out because it was going live in 5 minutes. And then I said the passage, and then they never called me back.
That's the kind of live television antics that make live television interesting.
It was awful. I was just, it was humiliating.
We've all been there. What is your dream car?
What's my dream car?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a heavy question. What's my dream car? Oh my gosh, what is my dream car?
I don't know. I figured you would have had an answer already lined up.
No, I can't, because there's just so many things in line.
Pick two.
This is...
Just tell me the cars you have.
I wouldn't mind having a GT2 RS. Okay. I've got a GT3 RS, but this is one above.
I don't know what that is. What is the GT2 RS?
It's in the line of Widowmakers. I think you can understand that term. I think the other one I love a Rolls Royce Dawn.
Okay.
I know.
That sounds nice.
It sounds nice.
Time for the heat of the meat, as I like to call it, the interview.
Oh, I was like, what?
It's not that kind of interview. I've known you for a long time, and when I first met you, I think one of the coolest things about you that I thought was the coolest thing was that you were a female race car driver. At the time, you're the only one.
Yep.
Are there any others?
My idea of racing is you go in a straight line and there's a start and finish. Some people consider it drifting racing. I guess it is, depending on what sort. So there might have been another female doing some kind of drifting stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Drifting's cool.
I don't know how to get into racing in any way, as far as
I didn't know either.
How did you get into that?
How did I get into it? Well, I was hosting for like Formula 1 events and doing like stuff for like Rebel TV and blah blah blah. And then I basically went to a go-karting event. Mm-hmm. And then my then husband, not my then husband, he's still my husband, first husband.
But your then
boyfriend.
Stalker, okay.
No, he didn't stalk me at all. He was too drunk all the time to be stalking me. That is my husband. I basically hung around the event and he said, why don't you try, I need somebody to host this go-kart event. And he was like, but you kind of need to know how to kart if you want to go and host it. So I ended up just getting into a go-kart and just doing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of laps and then joining local leagues because I'm competitive. Mm-hmm. And I really ended up enjoying it. And then it just kind of, and then an idea kind of popped up like a year later saying like, well, why don't I try and put money together? And also because I'm already in the media, try and raise that money through the media and through people I know. And then, find a team and go racing. It sounds like as easy as that. And it was a lot easier than I thought it would be. But
you're having to like qualify for certain things, obviously, of course, and race a lot and practice a lot.
So, I mean, I haven't been able to get into race car because shut down here in Asia. Since the last time I went was last year, January, when I went for testing. And that was just before our country got shut down. That was in Malaysia. We don't have a racetrack here.
Right.
Yeah, so we go to Malaysia, Thailand to go race, or around the region.
What were you getting the time for? What race was it for to qualify?
I went there for testing. So testing is just like for Malaysia. And usually that was for the Malaysian National Championship.
So you wouldn't go back and do it again now that you have kids?
I mean, I looked at my passport and I calculated like how many times a year. I was like out the country for like I think it was something like 170 days out of the year, because I'm out of the country a lot, and I'm all day in a garage. I mean, it sounds like fun, but that's like being in the car is like a fraction of the time. The rest of it's just in the garage all day, like, or testing 3 or 4 days in a row. Like, I so much time overseas.
So for a while, that was kind of the center of your life, I guess, the racing.
Yeah. That was completely my life.
Did want to talk to you about something I understand a little bit more of. TV presenting. You've been a mainstay here for a long time in Singapore as a TV presenter. How did you get started with TV presenting?
Oh my God.
It's a little bit different for everybody, I feel.
The fact that I've even survived, that I'm still here, I can't believe. I mean, to be honest, I think, how did I start? Actually, to me, it was by accident. It was a complete accident. And I think over the years, you just learn how to be really thick-skinned. Like, really, really, really thick-skinned. And learn to say no or yes. And find your way. I think I'm really lucky because Singapore's small. It's like that on the map. It's small. And even for the rest of Asia, I think that's why I found my niche in my area, which was also strategic but plus lucky, being in motorsport and all that. Because everybody's in lifestyle. There's like a million Eurasian girls and boys. You know what I mean? Everyone who's been a singer, a model, which I'm neither. Can't sing to save my life. Can't sing to save my kid's life. I did some acting. Terrible. Always cast as that slutty Eurasian girl. Like, you know, and I was just like I'm not doing this anymore. Like,
Is that what they used to think of Eurasians?
Yeah.
Back in the day?
Yeah.
Really?
Like, we were the loose crowd.
I mean, well...
not far from the truth.
Says the two people drinking beer on camera with the red tape around it.
I started, actually I was a Deal or No Deal girl.
What does that mean?
The TV show Deal or No Deal.
Yeah, but so you're just one of the girls that's...
opening a case and walking up and down staircases. To be honest...
And right after that, just rocket ship to fame and stardom.
Actually, I did for a while. And then I gave it up for a boy. And I ran away to Australia. That was actually a good thing. It was very, very sad at that point in time.
Yeah.
Disillusioned. 30, what am I going to do? Do I go back to acting? I mean, you've been out in the scene for like 3 years. It's like, you know what I mean? So I moved to Singapore when I was 12. And I think being Eurasian and sporty, I was always doing commercials on the talent side. I'm very small, so not a model, but I love the whole acting, that whole side of things. And then I just thought, it's just not for me, the acting thing over here.
Yeah.
And they wanted me to sound more Singaporean. And I can do the accent.
Can you do it right now?
I can do it. No, you put me on the spot. No,
Can you do it right now? Come on.
Don't do that to me, okay?
Well done, Law.
I think just the Singapore accent's not my thing. It just never has been.
Same.
Yeah, and then I started getting jobs for Red Bull. It was random. I did something for them, and then...
This is presenting for Red Bull.
presenting. So then it just kind of, somehow the lines kind of blurred, and I somehow ventured into, I think I got one job, and then I got another job. And I always kind of marketed myself as a female sports, I guess, host.
But you're super hardcore, though. Like, you work out, you go in, like, you ride your bike around the freaking island before I wake up.
But this is innate. You know, things like this, that's been the backbone. So I've realized I've been able to look at who I am, what the backbone of who I am. And the basic things in my life is I have played sports since I was 6 years old. And it doesn't matter what sport. It's like when people ask me, why'd you get into racing? You know, and I'm like, it doesn't matter actually what sport it is. I'm competitive. I enjoy sport. I have that grit and determination to want to be able to train by myself. It's an internal motivation. As I'm older, I agree with some things they said and disagree with some things they said. But I also believe now I made strategic movements. I realized when I got into the racing, I was like, wait, hang on. There's not very many females in there. I know so many people. I have mentors. I have all these contacts. I should be using them. And this is where my growth came to, because I used to be super shy. Like, I'm super open, but I'm super shy when it comes to business. Super shy. And I think the interesting thing is that my husband, who was my friend back then, he comes from a business-orientated family. He kind of taught me about the value, learning to have value for yourself, which is really interesting. It's like when you do a piece of artwork, you kind of go like, well, how do I price it? That's what it felt like for me. It's like, oh, maybe other people think it's like crap, you know what I mean? But so I can't put it at that. Maybe I should put it low, and you know, and to be honest, my husband's like back then as a friend, he'd be like, just put it high, put it high.
Yeah.
He's like, put it high, people think you're good. Whether you're not, doesn't matter. Put it high.
That used to work, by the way.
Yeah, used to work, yeah.
Now, post-COVID, nobody has any money. So they're like, meh.
I know. Moving to the racing.
So you became a race car driver as a strategy.
No, so the strategy to market that more was later.
Right.
So I did that because the opportunity came up to go like, hey, and I love sport anyway, and I'm competitive, and I was like, yeah, let's go do this. Train. I got to a point where I actually got onto the podium. I was the first female in my category ever to get onto a podium. I'm also the only female in my category. And to me, and I'm like...
You're racing against men.
Hey, there's only guys.
Yeah,
there's no female category.
Making that clear.
Yeah.
You're racing against men. Yeah.
Yes. And I got onto second position at the Malaysian Grand Prix, which is now defunct. Malaysian Grand Prix support race. So it was huge for me. And that day, it was just like really stars aligned because it's, you know, these things don't come about. And for me, I realized, wow, I mean, I'm dumb not to milk this. You really have to have help from people. I didn't do it alone.
Yeah.
You know, I did not do this alone. I had great support from people. I had friends who were real. When I used to say something wrong on TV, they'd be like, Claire, what you said on TV, like, that's shit. I had friends who were so upfront with me. Friends, this is not my husband. My husband would remind me. But you have friends doing that, it's like, oh, okay, like, you know, and they were constantly at it, you know. But it's also, I think, they cared enough about my image on TV, and I think it got to the point where the racing taught me to take away my ego and not be embarrassed about what people say and be like, well, this is great because they're trying to help me improve. And I just kept, I wanted more and more feedback. So it was always about feedback. And before, I was so embarrassed. Like before I said they cut me off the football job, I was so embarrassed. I didn't think about how I could get over it and what I could do better. Whereas in racing and in sport in general, teaches you that. Like it teaches you, well, that was crap. How am I going to get, I guess, on the podium or wherever you want to be in life for the next part? So that's been a very important feature for the racing. And I think that's why I love it. I'm not religious. I'm not spiritual. I'm not anything. I'm not.
You're just a badass doing her thing.
It's been great. It's been religious for me. So
you're one of my favorite people to talk to because you've done so many different things. And recently you and your husband Yui have gone down a more entrepreneurial. Am I saying that correctly? Entrepreneurial path together. He's obviously been on this path for a while. It's kind of his thing. But now you're playing a really big role in it. Can you tell me more about what advertising company named? You told me.
Oh, sorry, the film dispensary. We always had graphic people, and what we did is we always believed in having a product when we were doing racing. Because no other marketing company understood how we wanted it done, they just didn't get it. When it came to raising money, and most of the time we won't go racing unless we can raise money from company and market it out. And the big thing really is that having a good product and making sure that if we put content out there saying, hey, I went racing this weekend, I did this and that it looked great and it was professional. And having graphics and it was just, we needed a team to support us. And because nobody could do it for us, we end up having this marketing team. So COVID kind of changed everything. We don't know how long it's going to take. We need to do something. We want to keep the guy. We need to make money. It's basic rules. If not, we'll have to let go of him. During the COVID time, we're like, okay, well, the racing put away. We randomly met a guy, the owner of this company, a robotics company called Otso. And Yui met him first, and he was like, he came home one day and he's like, I met this guy. It's a Singapore guy. It's a Singapore company for robotics, and he's super cool. He's just got this crazy way of how he envisions things. You gotta meet him. And he's like, I really think we should work for him. And I was like, really? I was like, who is this guy? You know, and it's not often that Yui gets intrigued by someone of the same species, you know?
So you guys are doing content for him?
So we're doing content marketing, but we're so much more involved now. It started off as where we thought to ourselves that we're going to take on many clients and start doing media marketing, PR, whatever, or whatever it is, like video, And there's a lot of companies out there, but I would say we're pretty resourceful when it comes to trying to, I suppose, like find projects. So we met this guy, and basically we just convinced him that he needs us. Because, the funny thing
But he
about...
does. He does
No,
need
he does need us.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, robotics, it's all business to business, B2B stuff. None of it's B2C. Very few of it. I mean, those ones that deliver stuff and you see autonomous, it's still not B2C. Like, it's not, I mean, robotics basic, like your Roomba.
Or you were looking for a Roomba.
I was looking for I was just talking about floor.
I assure you, no Roombas here.
Roombas, is it called Roomba? Roomba, where
Roomba.
they clean the floor. That's like basic robotics. It's like mapping the floor, sorry. So we met the guy. Anyway, we said, we need to make your company sexy. We do your webpage. We literally look through all their stuff and we're like, we want to work for you. Not just because of that, because of wanting to change the business, but because the attitude of the founder of the company, this guy, Ling Ting Ming, he just had this crazy attitude about wanting to change the world, and he really believes it. And it's just, when you meet somebody like that, like it's pretty awesome.
How have you made his company sexy?
We've redone, they're not in social media. They're not into media. They're not in social media. They're not really into the PR stuff. So when something's out there, we are just gonna make sure that everybody knows about it. We make sure that we, shout from the rooftops and make sure that they are the best robotics company in the country. And marketing helps. I mean, having PR and marketing and talking to people, hooking people up, companies I work for hosting, I'm like, hey, and I just start rolling on ideas. And I think that's where that thick-skinned concept has come through, because I'm not embarrassed to go like, hey, are you interested? We should hook up. I work for like a robotics company. You know what I mean? Maybe we can do like a cool project, or maybe you want to have them in your photos. Let's just find something. You know what I mean? We're not afraid to ask, which has been quite a cool thing that I've learned from racing. If you're not asking, you're not going to receive anything. You got to keep asking and asking until one day you get it.
Where do you want things to go over the next 5 to 10 years?
I mean, I really love this whole smart city stuff. I really do. I mean, it was a steep learning curve a year ago, because, we kind of been thrown into it. Learning about whole artificial intelligence, learning about autonomy, learning about where the world is going, also learning to play the game, because a lot of it is government regulations, getting to know people, and I'm quite a hermit, to be honest. So me and my husband kind of tag team. He does all the stuff I really don't like, and I do all the stuff that he really doesn't like, and we just kind of automatically run that way. Where is it going? Right now, the smart city thing's huge.
Yeah.
I think it's big, because.
So you guys will continue working with the robotics company, you think, long term, going down the path of helping make Singapore into a smart city?
No, absolutely. I mean, it's already happening. The government's really investing. They've already got things like robotic stuff to do with schools and education. It's how we can make that even more, integrated, I think even on a consumer level, to educate people. People still are trying to understand. I mean, a year of cramming this information is crazy for us.
Seems like your goal is to be at the forefront of Singapore transitioning into a smart city.
Totally.
Yes.
That's it.
There it is.
You have managed to, I guess, encapsulate that in one sentence.
Yeah.
But I'm...
TV host.
Yeah. It's been a decade of racing. For my husband, it's been 15 years. I've been in the scene for a decade, and I've been living out of a suitcase. I've made decisions to, even though I had kids like 3 years ago, my first kid, I still took a job 3 months later. As soon as it was fine, I was like, I'm going to go overseas and do my job, because I love working. I love working, and that's who I am, and I'm not a stay-at-home person. And it's a really tough job to stay at home, and it's not me. Incredibly hard job. You have to be really patient. I don't have the best of patience. Love my kids, but I can't be with them 24/7. Okay, no, let's put it at 48 hours. 24/7 is not it's too short.
I'm constantly seeing you with the kids.
I know, I am, but I split my time up.
You're here right now drinking red duct tape beer with your old pal Justin.
Best.
Okay, here's a question for you, and I think this will be an interesting one coming from you. What would current Claire
Oh dear.
say to 20-year-old Claire? What would your advice be?
20-year-old Claire. Wow, it took me up to the age of 30 to figure out.
Just
Who I am,
what would, if
whatever.
you've got like a minute with her? What do you tell
A
her?
minute with her. If I've got a minute with her, I've had a minute with her, I'd be like, suck it up, drink some concrete. I would tell her it's okay to make all those damn mistakes, cry it out, move on, and keep at it. Stick with your guns on what you think or who you know you are. I've been told by so much white noise in the past, that will never work. Why would you do that? And oh, you're not good for this. And so many people downplay it. And I think, you know what? If my parents never said that to me, who are you? Why would I listen to you? I don't even know you. You're not even in this industry. What are you talking about? Like, you know what I mean? If I believed in that a little bit more, I think maybe I would have arrived at an earlier conclusion. I really feel that I wouldn't have struggled internally so much.
Yeah.
If I just stuck to my guns and not gone, like, been afraid by all these comments that other people made about me. Oh, you're doing this. Oh, that's weird. Oh, that's wrong. Or you're just another a Eurasian girl. Like, you know, I wish I was harder.
Did you have a particular mentor that helped you out a great deal as you were coming to be the current Claire Jedrek that we see before us today?
I'm coming up just about to answer. I'm like...
Yeah, I think
I'm like, do I answer now or wait?
we're keeping this in.
Okay.
Just go ahead and go.
It's gone. It was a little one. It was like a little blip. It was like... sorry. Not sorry. I can't help it. Mentor. Okay, it sounds like... It's a red tape talking.
Mentor, go ahead.
Okay, mentor. To be honest, I never had a mentor, anyone I looked up to until the age of 30. I've got to say, it sounds cliche, but my husband has been like amazing. Somebody I really, really look up to, just because he showed me an alternative way of thinking. He just said and did things that were just so out of like, I don't know, out of this world to me. I was like, who is this guy?
He's a doer.
He is a massive doer. I met someone who was more tiring than me. I mean, and it was interesting because his energy and his focus, what he's made me realize about myself is how to streamline my energy and my focus. I have all this like energy.
How has he done that? Like, is there any sort of
it's just advice.
tips or advice that he's giving you to do that?
I think it's advice in life. Like when I say stick to your guns, he always just told me, he was like, I was always afraid. So when it came to raising money for my racing, he was like, you know, you got to do it yourself. And I was like, I'm going to go knock on doors and ask people. And I did not grow up from a family where it's like, you know, his racing costs 10 times more than mine does. He would just talk to somebody and be like, well, do you have 200K? And I'd be like, sitting there going, oh no, this is happening. Of course, there's more conversation to that of how he does it. But in short, he really just goes, well, do you have 200K? If you want, I could put you on this car, blah, blah, blah. And he just asks for things. He just asked for it. And he's like, well, if you don't ask for it, you're not going to get it. It was like, how else? And I was like, it was a concept that was so basic. And it changed my way of thought because I was like, you know what? When I was younger, when I thought somebody had made it in a position, I thought they either slept their way there or they were pushy mofo. And actually they weren't pushy. It's because they really wanted something. But I guess that information was fed to me through other noise, going like, oh, that person is so, you know, it's just like gossip. Yeah. Actually, when I grew up and I realized that, I suppose, characteristic of how it was done, I was like, you're right. I never get anything because I don't ask for it because I'm too embarrassed. And what have I got to lose? Yeah. I learned that quality of what have I got to lose, you know, in the right way to present myself.
Yeah, if you don't try, you're not going to get there. If you don't ask, you're not going to receive.
Yeah, I mean, you can't win the lottery if you don't bet $1. You can always dream about it, but if you don't go and bet it, like, then it's not going to happen. So he's like, this is how you do it. And he's like, now you're going to do it yourself. And I used to spend, it's weird. Hosting, no problem. Give me 18,000 people. I'll be like, yeah, blah, 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 blah. In a room with 3 people, I'm like hi, can I have some monies? You know what I mean? This is my marketing plan. Like, I'd be dripping sweat. I'd be like, I'll stink like a schoolboy. It was just awful. Like, I'd be in front of the mirror practicing for 20 minutes and he'd walk in and be like, what are you doing? Practicing what I'm going to say and what they might say and what I'd say in return. He was like, you don't need to do all this. He's like, Claire, you are a natural born marketer. You're a salesperson. I hear you talking to people all the time about it. And it's weird because when I was younger, I thought to myself, I would never work a sales job. I hate it. Like, selling things is not me.
Life is a sales job.
And you know what? This is all I do. That's all I've been doing for 10 years. I'm like, wow, actually it is. Marketing, selling stuff, it's all the same. I was naive about what it was. And I think as mentorship, he's just been able to open my mind about the concepts. He's changed the idea of what it is in my head and how to do it. It's just naive.
Cool. Let's wrap this up with a toast. Cheers.
Finish this off.
Thanks for joining me, Claire.
Okay.
Been a pleasure.